imprisonment, or both? Well, guess what? These idiots, these morons, these incompetent fools in the open air prison we live in told Sean to do. They told him to show up to court 9 o'clock a.m. on a Sunday. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever the time of the day it is, wherever you are. How are you doing this fine? Thursday already. I'm doing quite well. I have a lot going on. We have 2 premieres coming out tonight, one on BJ Investigates, one on Study Break. Now you're watching this, so 3 videos, I guess, today. Big day, big day. But I felt like I needed to get this video out there because, as a lot of y'all probably know, Sean Reyes from Long Island Audit, the Dan Barry coverage I've been doing, and a couple other topics I've covered on this channel, he got arrested unlawfully at the 61st Precinct in Brooklyn by the NYPD. Now, we are going to watch a live stream that Sean did put out and do the day before yesterday. This all went down on, I believe it would have been Monday. Let me check my little calendar book here. The 3rd, yes, Monday. So this all happened on Monday. Today is Thursday, and he made his video on Tuesday. Now, his video is about 30 minutes long. There's also some other stuff I want to get into, so we probably won't watch the whole video, but I don't want to waste too much time up front. Without further ado, let's get into this video, and then I want to show y'all a couple things that I found about these arresting officers and about the NYPD in general.
Yesterday, April 3rd, 2023, I was arrested by 2 tyrant officers at the NYPD's 61st Precinct in Brooklyn, New York. They took my freedom, they took my property. Let's get into it. All right, guys.
So Sean does have up the desk appearance. I do have that document, but I don't think I'm going to pull it up right now because he has it up. So
what's up, guys? Long Island Audit here. Back again with another video. I'm getting extremely tired of doing these lives and, having to sit in a cell for 6 hours. I was arrested yesterday by the NYPD.
Oh, another thing real quick. I did request the incident report, the arrest report, and the body camera footage of this incident. I've not heard anything back, but I did just make the requests yesterday morning, so about 24 hours ago. I have confirmation emails for the arrest report and the incident report, but they did not send me a confirmation email for the body cameras. So I may actually just request those again today just to make sure that they did get them.
I was arrested yesterday by the NYPD at the 61st Precinct, as I just said. I basically went there to exercise my rights like I normally do, right, across the country. So I said, you know what, the NYPD's in my backyard. I've seen and I've heard rumblings of some people having some issues over there, but it's always been in my mind for months to go to the NYPD and really exercise our rights and do a good audit on them. So I went to the 61st Precinct in Brooklyn because I've heard a lot about that specific precinct. There's a lot of bad Google reviews that they're not accepting complaints against officers or even regular complaints against other citizens. They'll laugh at you. They'll treat you horribly wrong. It's really a mess over there. So I walked into the precinct. My objective was to exercise my First Amendment right of freedom of press, gather some content, as well as document the process of filing a formal complaint against an officer. How would I be treated as I'm filing a formal complaint against an officer? Makes sense, right? For transparency and accountability, because if you're filing a complaint against an officer, wouldn't you want to record that interaction? Wouldn't that make sense to record that interaction? Obviously,
especially considering the reputation that the NYPD has. I mean, they are known, and if you don't know this, just look it up. They are known widely around the entire world as a department that underreports whenever it comes to incidents of complaints against officers. They are known, I think, actually, remember those unconstitutional stop and frisks that were based on nothing more than racial profiling? I'm pretty sure that was the NYPD. Let me look that up. Constitutional stop and frisk New York case. Yes.
A judge ruled the New York Police Department's stop and frisk policy to be unconstitutional. U.S. District Judge Shira Scheindlin said stop and frisk was indirect racial profiling because it targeted racially defined groups, namely blacks and Latinos. In the 195-page ruling, the judge said the NYPD employed unconstitutional tactics to try to deter crime. No weapon was found in 98.5% of 2.3 million stop and frisks. Blacks were 30% more likely than whites to get arrested for the same suspected crime. New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly called the judge's decision disturbing and offensive.
So back in 2013, a decision was announced by a federal judge that found NYPD violated the United States Constitution with this unconstitutional stop and frisk policy that was based on nothing more than race. But I specifically remember as a variable in that case, the officers were not reporting what their reasonable articulable suspicion was. They basically were just stopping any and everybody. They weren't even reporting everybody that they did stop. They weren't keeping logs of it and stuff like that. So this department has already been found in violation of the Constitution. They've already been reprimanded for that. So yes, I would agree with Sean. It is definitely important to record these incidents because we already know. I requested that body camera footage and I already know I'm not going to get all of it. I just know I'm not. I should, but I know I'm not. So, of course, you would want to record yourself having that interaction with these tyrants that have already been shown not to respect or follow or adhere to the Constitution, which is really pathetic because that is the one thing that they put their hand on a Bible or whatever and promise to uphold.
Complaining, you're issuing complaint against another officer, so you'd want to document that process for transparency and for retaliation purposes, right? They could be retaliating against you.
Yep.
So I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I walk in, I was confronted by a sergeant. I have his name here on the desk appearance ticket I received. Sergeant Korchitmet.
Let me see if I can find a picture of him. Lives in Queens County, Queens Village, New York. Tosares Korchitmet. Also, Cucuzza is a mafia name. Dumbass. This is a miserable ass looking bunch of people. I mean, my God, not a shred or a sparkle of joy to be seen. Just look at them. Look how they're looking. Oh, they're miserable. My God. All right, let's get back to what Sean was saying.
Says you cannot record in the police office, in the police lobby, period. Turn off your camera now.
No, shut up.
Politely, you guys know, I politely told Sergeant Korchitmet that I was not going to stop recording. I wanted to file a complaint against an officer, and I wanted to document that process and exercise my rights. He told me that it was NYPD's policy not to record inside of the lobby. I told him policy does not trump the United States Constitution or we the people's rights. And he went back inside. I thought maybe one for we the people. Maybe we won here today. He went back inside and brought out one of the biggest tyrants I've ever met, Giovanni Cucuzza, right down here, the arresting
I'll put his picture up.
officer. He immediately became very aggressive, 0 to 100, no de-escalation technique whatsoever. Immediately told me to stop recording. And if I didn't stop recording, I was going to be subject to arrest. So I said, I'm not going to stop recording. This is for
Recording is not a crime, you dumb
transparency. This is my right. This is our right. Where is the disconnect that we, the people, can't go inside of our building in a lobby? I can understand there's
because these mafia kids think it's their building.
restricted, interview rooms and things of that nature, evidence rooms, a police officer lobby that it's wait till you see the video. It's so small anyway. What's the big deal? They've admitted to me that there was nothing, sensitive information. They said, you can't record. That's it. The sergeant said immediately, when I tell you 0 to 100 really quick, 0 to 100 really quick, within minutes, I was placed in handcuffs put on so tight, cutting off circulation, telling the officer, Cucuzza, hey man, loosen the cuffs. What's wrong with you? That's the thing, right? That's the disconnect.
That's how they act, these mafia kids. Cucuzza. Just take a little bit of a Google search down the Cucuzza lane and see what you find. And before y'all go on about, oh, you need to be scared because I'm scared because you're covering all this. First of all, I'm not scared of these people. First of all. Because you know what's even scarier than the mafia? You know what's even scarier than the thin blue line cult? Transparency, which is exactly why they don't want to be recorded. Come around my house and watch what happens to you. I promise you, I won't be the one leaving in a body. I promise you I'm not. First of all. Second of all, let's say they do get me. I'm not suicidal. I don't want to die. I like being alive, all that. I sometimes wish that I could get in my spaceship and zoom off. But all this fear-based mindset is why and how we've ended up in this open air prison to begin with. If it's got to be a little girl with a unicorn pinata and puffy headband that's going to stand in the face of fear and say, y'all aren't telling me what to do, y'all aren't silencing me, and I'm not scared of you, then so be it. I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared. Stop coming in my comments section talking about being scared. This ain't the place for scared people. Somebody has to stand up to this shit. Thank God for people like Sean Reyes. Thank God for people like Mike and Nina from Blind Justice. Thank God for people who are not scared. And you know what? Even more so, the people who are scared and they stand in the face of fear and do it anyway. I am not going to facilitate a fear-based mindset because that's exactly why and how we've gotten into this open air prison to begin with. I'm not scared, and I encourage y'all not to be either. This is our country. These are our institutions. This is our labor that goes into paying these tax dollars. These mafia boss kids, these people. Come around my house and watch what happens to you. I'm not scared, and I know exactly how to handle a tyrant.
Is that he says he was just doing his job. Your job is to not put on the cuffs so tight that it cuts off my circulation. You were being a tyrant. That's what you were doing, Officer Cucuzza. You were being a tyrant. My hands were turning blue. I could feel
All this for a camera. All this for a camera. And I'm going to show you what else they do in the NYPD once we're done with this.
the blood rushing, just stuck in my hand. That's how tight. Never before. I've been arrested a few times doing activism like this. Never before has anyone put the cuffs on as tight as Officer Giovanni Cucuzza. Never once. And he laughed about it.
Because he's a sick freak.
He thought it was funny. He thought
Funny now, ain't it, Giovanni? It's funny now, ain't it? Now that everybody got your name on our lips, now that you're going to be the reason for a mass protest, a peaceful protest, it's funny now, huh? Ha ha, ha ha.
the whole situation was funny. I wasn't some hardened criminal or, a murderer or anything like that. He just wanted to do that because it gave him power over me, right? He just wanted to put those cuffs on.
He thought that Sean didn't have an audience. He thought he was going to be able to get away with it. He thought he was going to be able to handle Sean like he handles everybody else. And guess what? It's going to come back tenfold, Giovanni. Tenfold. Every single person you've treated this way is allowed to comment in this comment section. Maybe we'll have a mass podcast. Maybe everybody that's been mistreated by Giovanni can come on this platform, can go on Sean's platform. Maybe. Who knows? He thought he was going to be able to get away with it because he thought nobody cared. Well, guess what, baby? The tides have turned. We care a lot.
So tight. And then not even loosen them. Not even loosen them. Another officer had to come and loosen them for me.
He should be charged with a crime for that since he likes doing that to other people.
Ridiculous. Immediately placed under arrest, ladies and gentlemen. Immediately. Phone, camera, GoPro, all my property taken from me. I was placed in a cell. I was in that cell for 6 hours. 6 hours. 6 long hours for a criminal trespassing charge. Again, retaliation. But I'll explain a little bit in more detail. Let's go over this desk appearance ticket in front of me right here. So it says you are hereby summoned to appear in criminal court of the city of New York to answer a criminal charge. Should you fail to appear for the offense charged below, in addition to a warrant being issued for your arrest, you may be charged with an additional violation of penal law, which upon conviction may subject you to a fine and imprisonment.
So this I want y'all to pay special attention to. See this desk appearance ticket? It says that his court date is on 4/23/2023. Y'all see that? That's this month, April 23rd. That's in like less than 20 days. And then they give him all these threats. Let me have it here. It says, should you fail to appear for the offense charged below, in addition to a warrant being issued for your arrest, you may be charged with an additional violation of the law. Upon conviction, it may subject to a fine, imprisonment, or both. Well, guess what? These idiots, these morons, these incompetent fools in the open air prison we live in told Sean to do. They told him to show up to court 9:00 a.m. on a Sunday. It ain't but about 8:00 a.m. right now. I'm going to call when they open and see what the hell the deal is with that.
Or both. So, first of all, to the district attorney, New York City Police Department, I don't run. So, I will be there
On a Sunday.
on April 23rd, 2023 at 9 a.m. You can count on that. We, the people, don't run in the face of tyranny. We will be there. We face it head
I'll be there too. I'm going to be at that court date.
on. So, I have to be there. I have to bring a photo ID. I have to sign right here. As you can see, this happened.
I'll bring a photo ID, but I'm pretty sure they're going to know exactly who I am by then. Giovanni Cucuzza. They're going to know exactly who I am by then, but I'll bring
April
my ID too.
3rd. So 20 days later is my court date. It's in the county of Brooklyn. The part DAT right here, Reyes Jean Paul, refused. They wanted all my information, like cell phone number, home number. No, I'm not giving you any of that. So here we go. We have the command right here. Cucuzza Giovanni is the officer that arrested me, the tyrant officer at the command of Sergeant Korchitmet Tosares. I believe Tosares is his first name. I want to make sure he's right. I tried to explain to them, and here, right here, is just the invoice before I even talk about that. So as I'm sitting in the cell for 6 hours, they must have figured out who
6 hours for filming where you're allowed to film.
I was, right? Ladies and gentlemen, they figured it out. They must have Googled me. I don't know what they did, but they figured out who I was pretty quickly. And it went from them treating me like utter and complete garbage to the sergeant and officer Cucuzza coming inside the holding cell without body cameras, mind you, saying, "Hey, why did we have to go down this path, man? Why'd you have to do this? Why'd you have to get arrested? You're not going to change any policy here. What are you trying to do? It didn't have to go like this. I don't want to have to arrest you." Trying to play like
They always try to play the nice guy once they realize that Sean has an audience, and that is ridiculous. They should not be treating people differently based on whether or not people listen to them on YouTube. That is ridiculous.
the good cop and the good sergeant now after you just placed the handcuffs on so tight, cut off my circulation, and took my freedom away from me for 6 hours. They're trying to like, hey, make buddy talk. I didn't want to talk to them. I said, hey,
Nope.
listen, I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right. I don't want to talk anymore. You know, you guys messed up. This is our policy. This is what they said, ladies and gentlemen, law enforcement officers. This is our policy here. You were arrested because you broke our policy. That's what they said. And then
That is so stupid. And while we're at it, let me just show this to y'all. So we'll get into this trespass statute. Like this is the one they actually ended up putting on the desk appearance ticket. But I want to show y'all this real quick. Here's a New York City law, a law in New York City. It's section 14 hyphen 189, and it is the right to record police activities. Officer means any police officer, so that applies to Korchitmet and Cucuzza. Police activities mean any activity of an officer acting under the color of law. Record means to capture or attempt to capture any moving or still image. Right to record police activities. Here's the law right here, y'all. A person, that means Sean, anyone really, right? But a person may record police activities and maintain custody and control of any such recording and of any property or instruments used in such recording. Nothing in this chapter shall be construed to permit a person to engage in actions that physically interfere with any official or lawful police function, or to prevent the seizure of any property and a recording of police activities where the seizure is otherwise authorized by law, or to prohibit any officer from enforcing any other provision. So you have the right to record the police unless you are interfering with official, lawful police functions. And look at this. There is a private right of action. A claim of unlawful interference with recording police activities is established under this section when an individual, that means Sean, demonstrates that he or she recorded or attempted to record police activities in accordance with subdivision B, that's the one we just read, and an officer, that would be Korchitmet and Cucuzza, interfered with the recording of the police activities. That includes the following actions: preventing or attempting to prevent recording, which is definitely what they did; threatening or making any effort to intimidate a person recording the police activities, which is certainly what they did; stopping, seizing, searching, issuing a summons, or arresting an individual because they recorded the police activities, or seizing the property or instruments. Literally, you can sue the police. It is a right of action under this statute to sue them for all of the things they did to Sean. We'll get to that more in a minute. Let's see what else he had to say.
Was, as you could see here, I was charged with offense charged is PL 140.05. That's a criminal trespassing, excuse me.
So
But they
stupid.
were like, oh, it didn't have
They are so stupid.
to go this way,
It didn't have to go this way. That's for damn sure.
it didn't have to be this way, didn't have to all happen. Now they're being all nice to me because they know that the power of we the people united are
You know what? Y'all could just go ahead and drop these charges. Then none of this does have to happen. You're right. If y'all drop these charges, none of this has to proceed and it didn't have to happen. I still think that based on the statute that I just read, Sean has a private right of action to sue y'all, but you definitely should drop these charges.
strong. I sat in that cell, officers were passing by and everything. Why do you look so happy? I'm happy because I get to create change. I get to create change. You violated my rights, and we the people are going to be united. They don't understand. I sit in there not alone. I sit in there knowing that all
You are not alone, Sean.
400,000 of you, 400 plus thousand across all social media platforms, and in here right now, 5,000 of you have my back. I know that. I know that we together will affect change, just like we did in Berwyn, just like we did in Connecticut, where we held them accountable, just like we did in Maryland, just like we did everywhere that we go. We're fighting for change. And that's what I'm going to fight for here in the NYPD. I'm going to go to each borough: Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island, Manhattan. I'll go to each and every borough, and I will go to each and every precinct in each one of those boroughs. And we will fight. We will fight
Peacefully, but yes, we will.
the legal way. Let me make that
Yep.
clear. The legal
Yep.
way for our rights. We need to have transparency.
Yes.
We need to have accountability.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. It's bad enough in these little towns with 5,000, 10,000 people that live in them. This is one of the biggest police departments in the country. The open air prison guards do not know how to act. They're tyrants, they're bullies, and they're insane.
And when they let me go 6 hours later for a desk appearance ticket, this is all they gave me is a desk appearance ticket. 6 hours in a holding cell, ladies and gentlemen. There was no bathroom in there or anything. I had to ask them to take me to the bathroom and everything. Horrible. And I'm not saying that's a complaint. I'm saying that I know what I do, right? I do this for each and every one of you. I know what I do, and I do it for the people, and I do it to affect change and to hold.
And thank God, because can you imagine if there was just nothing and no one stopping these people? I mean, honestly.
Tyrants like Officer Cucuzza accountable and the sergeant. I know that these are the consequences of what I do. There's no complaining here. I'm excited to be able to affect change. I will fight this all the way. We will go to trial. We will do whatever we need to do. I'm going to
And this one's even closer and even more accessible for me than Danbury. So I'm going to be there too.
hire attorneys. I will do whatever it takes, just like I did in Danbury, just like I did in Berwyn. Everywhere I've gone, I fought it to the end.
Hagerstown, all of it.
And I promise you, I will do that in this case as well. NYPD has been running rampant, and we're going to watch a video to show that. The reason why I'm not showing you the video, I'll get to that right now. The reason why you're not seeing the video, ladies and gentlemen, is because the NYPD, for a simple criminal trespassing charge, decided to confiscate my camera as well as my GoPro.
And they still have it. They didn't give it back. I've been up and down their Facebook page telling them on every post they post, give Sean Reyes his stuff back. Because as far as I could tell, they're violating this statute right here. Look, seizing the property instruments used by any individual to record police activities. That is exactly what they did, giving him a private right of action. That's how I'm reading the statute. And this is definitely not legal advice, but I will tell you that I did pass the New York bar exam on the first try. Not legal advice, not legal advice. If you need legal advice, go hire yourself a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not licensed to practice law anymore because I don't want to be in a cult with these thugs and these mafia kids. But I will tell you, the way I'm reading that statute as someone who did pass the New York bar exam, they just gave him a private right of action. And every single day that they deprive him of his property that he did use is making their case a lot worse. Making their case a lot worse.
As you can see here, they have my cell phone that I was recording with, and they also have my GoPro camera over here. They released me. They said, "Here you go, Mr. Reyes. Have a nice day. Here's the rest of your stuff that you had on you. Have a great day." After we took out your shoelaces, we made you cut your hoodie and your pants and everything else, and we got marks on your wrists, and
I would be suing them for the cost of my clothes too.
degraded you and cursed at you. So unprofessional. The NYPD are a bunch of thugs. That's what they are.
It's because, like, if you go down the list, almost all of them in Brooklyn have mafia last names. It's like the mafia came over, took over Brooklyn, and now they're just in the government.
That's what they are. So as they're releasing,
And I ain't talking about just any old random Italian last name. Let's be very clear. I'm talking about names that can specifically be traced to mafia ties, people who have been tried and convicted, people who are currently in prison.
I said, "Hey, where's my property? Where's my camera and my other cell phone?" And they said, "Well, we're taking that as evidence. Have a nice day." And they leave. They leave me in the lobby where I started. And can you believe that they just thought that was going to end like that? They gave me this paper up here, this desk appearance ticket, and said, "We're taking it as evidence." Excuse me, I would like a receipt.
What y'all think would happen to his stuff if he didn't get a receipt? Do y'all think there would be any evidence? I know there were some people in the live chat 2 days ago whenever I was watching this live who were saying you should get something that uploads to the cloud because they're gonna delete the evidence, they're gonna delete the video off your phone, your GoPro, stuff like that. I don't know how GoPros work, but hopefully Sean has a password on his phone where they're not gonna be able to go in there and delete stuff. But can you imagine? We live in such a corrupt world. We live in such a corrupt place that people's first instinct, their first thought is the police are going to go into your private property and delete evidence of them doing something. That's where we live, that it's par for the course, that it's almost more expected that they would do that they would steal, that they would conceal evidence, just like they did in Danbury, Jacobellis. It's more thought of in this open air prison that we live in that the people who we go to work every day. We pay taxes so that they protect and serve our communities. And the thing that people think, the first thing that comes to their mind is they're going to delete evidence and conceal evidence of their actions. That's where we are today, ladies and gentlemen. That is where we are.
For my property that you're stealing from me. You stole my freedom. You stole my liberty. You're stealing my property now. I don't care what you talk about evidence. There's no evidence of a trespass on my camera. They do that out of spite.
Like they don't have lobby cameras and body cameras, but they're going to act like that footage don't exist or they're not going to give it to us. Watch.
Let's be real, ladies and gentlemen. They do that out of spite, okay?
One of these days, I am finally going to sue one of these people. One of these days, I am finally going to take it upon myself to file an actual lawsuit against one of these people. One of these departments is going to get it one day.
It has nothing to do with taking it for evidentiary purposes. They have a camera in the lobby. There's, they have body
Yeah, they don't want the evidence out on the YouTube.
cameras on. Let's be real.
Let's be
They do it to try and hurt me.
period. Now Sean's not going to have his own cell phone, like his cell phone that he uses as a cell phone to go around in the world. He ain't going to have his own cell phone until Sunday, April 23rd. Why is court on a Sunday? Just still.
To try and prevent me from showing you the video. I was going to live stream for people who are going to ask that question, but the service wasn't that good and it wasn't working. So I decided to just go in there, static recording on 2 different devices. Probably should have waited so I can get the live streaming working. But anyway, they finally came out and they said, "Oh, you don't need a receipt." What? Yes, I do. This is the NYPD here. And they gave me a receipt for both of my, that's what you see here again. And the desk appearance ticket. Completely insane. Please take a break really quick. I'm about to show you something else really quick over here. This news article.
Before I made this video, I did briefly communicate with Sean and I asked him, is there any call to action that I can tell to the people over on my channel to do? He said, yes, please put the contact information for the people to redress their grievances peacefully in the description box, which will be there down below. And I'm also asking y'all personally, click on Sean's video and I'm gonna link it down below. Click on it, go over there, like the video because it helps to boost it in the algorithm. And Sean ain't the only person that the NYPD, my antennas are not doing too good today. Look, a little chunk missing. Probably from all the depravity they encountered yesterday with the no jumper situation. If you haven't seen that video, go watch that. Yeah. So I would encourage you, please go click that link down below, go to Sean's video and just at least like the video. It does help to boost it and cast more light, more transparency on the tyrants at the NYPD.
Here, I'm trying to get a hold of Mayor Eric Adams. He's the one in charge of New York City, right? So we need to get a hold of him as a people to hold the NYPD accountable. This policy needs to be removed from every single NYPD precinct. Every single one. We will not stop. I promise you. Stay tuned to the end of this live because I want to try and organize something with everybody in the New York City area, Long Island, Connecticut.
Y'all, I just Googled Mayor Eric Adams Police Union. Can't even make this shit up. Literally yesterday, last night at 8:07 p.m. Look at this. This is the New York Post. I can't necessarily call them a reputable news source, But look at this. The NYPD has to pay rookies more to replace officers who are retiring or quitting. And the mayor does keep raises for existing officers below inflation. Even so, we're giving away a lot without asking much in return, and we still can't afford it. Even in the short term, taxpayers may pay for this contract well after it expires. So, look, it's being reported on that he's making deals with the Police Benevolent Association, the police unions. So, if y'all think that any accountability is going to come from a politician who makes sweetheart deals with police unions, you're wrong. You're mistaken. The only way it's going to happen is if we, the people, demand it. We have to take action, and we have to stop laying down and allowing these tyrants to make deals with their best friends at the expense of we, the people. It would be one thing if they were overcharging and just doing what they were supposed to do. It would be one thing if they were draining the taxpayers' coffers and still doing what they were supposed to do. But they're not. They treat us as if they are open air prison guards. That is how they act. We cannot expect transparency. We cannot expect accountability to come from inside of the belly of the beast. Another reason I gave up my license to practice law, because I realized within months there is no possible way to change the system from the inside. A lot of y'all tell me run for president, run for mayor, this, that, and the other. And I really appreciate that y'all have faith in me, that y'all think that I would be good at it. I wouldn't be good at it. Want to know why? Because this is how I would act. This is how I would talk to people. And none of these people that are used to being patted on the back, these police unions, all that, you think they're going to like working with me? Hell no. They're going to hinder me. There's no way. These people in the belly of the beast are used to these sweetheart deals. They're used to softball questions. They're used to kid glove treatment. They ain't used to being talked to like how I would talk to them. And y'all already know what would happen to me if I tried to talk to them that way. Y'all already know what would happen. I'm going to get into it.
Wherever you, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York City itself, wherever you guys may be, we need to do something big together. Whether you're an auditor, whether you're just a citizen, just a regular guy that doesn't just watches the video and supports from afar, we all need to come together and show.
So I asked John, what should we do? Like, how are we going to come together? And he said he's working on a plan now, and I will let y'all know what that plan is as soon as he tells me.
Oh, New York City. This is bigger than Berwyn, right? This is bigger than Danbury. This is New York City. And I believe that together we can really change this policy, and we can really fight for
I do too.
accountability and transparency in the NYPD. And they need it. You know why? Because look at this article I have right here in front of me. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. NYPD, thousands of complaints, small percentage of officers disciplined. So let's take a look at this video and see what they have to say.
But for the way they handled the Black Lives
Buffering. Okay, so Sean tried to play the video. It did not play. I will try to download the video, put it here, the one that he was trying to show y'all. He's going to go through the article.
The video is not playing, but let's look at the article here. For the first time this year, the NYPD made some of its police officer disciplinary records public. For the first time, they're making records public. No wonder why they don't want cameras inside of in the lobby. They don't even make their own records public. 7 on Your Side investigates and analyzed 2 decades worth of those records and found some trends. Of all the complaints filed against officers, a small percentage are found to be substantiated. And when they are substantiated, an even smaller percent have faced some sort of disciplinary action. When someone wants to file a complaint against an NYPD officer in New York City, they file it with what's called the Civilian Complaint Review Board, or CCRB. It's an independent board that investigates complaints and gives recommendations to the NYPD on possible disciplinary action. I'm all for that. A citizen review board, it's great, but we all know it doesn't work because they have no power.
They have no power, aka enforcement authority. So it's like, okay, the Citizen Review Board looked into your complaint, and the police union and Eric Adams are much more powerful than this little silly board, so nothing's going to happen.
Recommendations. When Elon Williams got pulled over and driving with his new red Nissan in the Bronx, what happened next caused him to file a formal complaint. The mechanic just finished building his dream car and was taking it for a test drive when he got pulled over by police. He believed officers mistook the car backfire for a gunshot. For the entire time it was happening, I did not think I was going to survive. The pull over and arrest was captured on a parking lot surveillance camera. Thank God. The video shows Williams putting his hands in the air, and he describes what happens next. There was maybe a circle of 5 or 6 of them around me. I got boots to the head. I got punches over 20 times. Despicable. Williams said he received head wounds, 5 herniated discs before getting arrested and released. Williams said he didn't hear anything back after filing his complaint with the CCRB a decade ago. This is
decade ago. Look what happened to this man. I don't even know if I can show it on YouTube. Our public servants were supposed to protect us and serve us, treat us like this.
This is what I'm talking about.
And there's no accountability, there's no consequence. And I think more importantly, because there's no accountability or consequence, there's no change. They are encouraged to essentially continue to treat us this way because the man had a new car. Look, pull the man over, write him a ticket. If there's a noise ordinance, if the car is loud, I'm not saying people should be allowed to just run amok and make it all loud and crazy for us. But what I am saying is surrounding somebody and beating them with an inch of their life and causing injuries is not acceptable for a loud car. It's just not.
This is why I wanted to illustrate this to you. This was written in 2021 for context. This is what I'm talking about. Where's the transparency? This man filed a complaint the right way, did things the right way, filed it with the CCRB, and never heard back. Never heard back. This is why I wanted to file a complaint.
This is what Sean went to file a complaint about. This. He went to file a complaint about this. The irony, the meta irony of it all.
That process and film it for transparency purposes. But you can't.
You can't.
You can't film your complaint to the NYPD regarding other NYPD officers. You
Despicable.
can't do that. And I am proof of that because I intended to do that. That was my intent, was to film. I had business there to file an official civilian complaint against an officer and document that process for transparency and accountability purposes.
Crazy.
And I was arrested.
Crazy.
Put in handcuffs so tight.
Unlawfully arrested, double unlawfully arrested, because they also broke the filming the police law by interfering with Sean, who was filming police conducting their activities. There is a law on the books that allows him to do that, that protects him to do that. Of course, there's already a law on the books that protects that, the First Amendment. But there's even a city ordinance, there's even a city law. New York City law allows him to do that.
Cannot explain to you guys how tight these handcuffs were. Horrible. But again,
Torture.
the reason why I do this is to expose Officer Cucuzza,
Some might even say cruel and unusual.
the tyrant, Officer Cucuzza, to the world, Giovanni Cucuzza, right? And he came into my cell and started talking to me and everything. And he tried to talk to me back and forth. And why'd you have to do this? And,
Yeah.
hey, man, you already did it. You already put me in jail. Like,
Too late.
you already put me in a holding cell. And he didn't like my answers. He's like, you're not going to change anything. And in that moment, ladies and gentlemen, all 5,200 of you watching, in that moment, he says, you're not going to change anything. You think you can change the NYPD?
Yes.
You're not going to do anything. I thought to myself, wow, he's so confident.
Not only do I think that we, the people, can change the NYPD, not only do I think that, I know it as a matter of fact. People like Cucuzza, they've gotten away with tyranny for far too long. Even one person being treated like this is way too many. They've gotten away with it because the mayors and the governors are best friends, sometimes even family members, with the police union leaders, with the Fraternal Order of Police leaders. Guess what, baby? We can vote you out too. It's time to clean house around here. Not only do I think that we, the people, can come together to change the NYPD, I know it as a matter of fact.
But you know what? I'm confident too. So I know that all of us can really affect change together. All the public contact information regarding this arrest is in the description below. The NYPD 61st Precinct's telephone number, Facebook, Twitter, Mayor Eric Adams, who's the real person we need to get a hold of here.
Who ain't gonna do nothing, but I do think we should contact him.
His Facebook and Twitter, as well as his contact
I'm gonna copy paste everything Sean's mentioning right now and link it down below.
information is also in the description. I filed a FOIL request, Freedom of Information Law. That's what it's called here in New York State, FOIL. So I filed a FOIL request for the body camera footage because they were wearing body cameras. Sometimes they would take them off. I don't know. I filed a FOIL request.
See, another reason why we need to record our interactions with police, because they take their damn body cameras off their bodies. They turn them off. They turn the audio off. Then sometimes if they don't do that, they're going to delete the audio before they give it to you.
For their body cameras as well.
Redact it illegally, unlawfully, leaving us with no way to redress that issue.
Well, as the policy on body cameras, because they would leave them, on the desk while they came to talk to me in the cell, and very unprofessional. I'm telling you, the way they talk, they're a bunch of. Look at this article, ladies and gentlemen. What does that sound like? Officers of the law to you?
No, it does not. And I was able to download that video. So after Sean is done talking, we're going to watch that video, the one he couldn't get to play.
That beat a man, gave him 5 herniated discs, boots to the head. That sounds like a gang to me.
It is a gang. It's a mafia. It is. This is the mafia's kids. That's what it is.
The NYPD gang. And their reign over NYPD is over because we're going to make sure I'm there. I'll go to every 5 boroughs. I can't do it without you guys. We're going to have to organize some sort of, mass audit, right? We need a mass audit in the NYPD and in New York City in general. We need to get some eyeballs. Like I said, New York City is not like Berwyn or Danbury or Hartford County, Maryland.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's still just as ridiculous how they act over there, and I care a lot about it. But this is NYPD. This is New York City.
Or any of those things. It's a huge city. It's the city that never sleeps. We need to come strong. We need to really show the leaders, Mayor Eric Adams, that we are not playing any games. We're not. We demand.
Not playing any games with them.
And we, the people, demand transparency and accountability. This charge is nothing, right? This is part of the activism. This is part of my purpose, my job. This is part of what I love to do. I don't love to get my freedom taken away, but I love to expose a tyrant, and I love to really, really affect change. And I've done that. You've seen the mayor take down the sign in Berwyn. Let's try and work together with Mayor Eric Adams. Let's demand some accountability and transparency in the NYPD. And that starts with as many people watching this video as possible. As many people as possible. So please like, share, and comment your thoughts below. I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to take a few minutes to read some of your comments.
Okay. So I'm going to pull up that video that Sean tried to get to play and he couldn't. And it was the reason why he even went to the precinct in the first place to make complaints about this particular issue. So let me pull that up. Okay, so here's that video he was trying to get to play and it wouldn't play.
6 New York cops now facing possible punishment for the way they handled the Black Lives Matter protests last year. All this part of a more transparent way of letting the public know about police accused of bad behavior. Of course, it hasn't always been like this. Complaints against cops have until now been kind of shrouded in mystery. But no more. Investigative reporter Dan Krauth with things about the NYPD we didn't know before.
When Elon Williams got pulled over driving his red Nissan in the Bronx, what happened next caused him not to just leave New York City, but the country.
I like New York. I didn't want to leave, but I also don't want to live in fear.
The mechanic just finished building his
Seriously, making us want to get in our spaceship and zoom away.
dream car.
Oh, I love that car.
Was taking it out for a test drive when the NYPD pulled him over. He believes they mistook a car backfire for a gunshot. Surveillance video shows him putting his hands in the air, and he describes what happened next.
There was like maybe
Look at that. Look at this criminal gang. Look at them.
maybe like a circle of 5 or 6 of them around me. I got boots to the head. I
Look at this.
got punches
Look at that.
over 20 times.
He says he received head wounds and 5 herniated discs. He filed a complaint with the Civilian Complaint Review Board, or the CCRB, an independent group that investigates police.
I didn't hear anything else from CCRB.
He says he had to take his case to civil court, where he won a $2.3 million settlement to
He won $2 million.
get action.
I don't think justice was served at all.
Earlier this year, the NYPD made its disciplinary records public.
Because do y'all think that the New York Police Department gives 2.5 shits about paying out $2 million? Let me look at what the budget is. NYPD. $11 billion. $11 billion. $11 billion. $11 billion. $11 billion is the budget. The largest police budget in the country, which includes funding for 2 of the most dangerous units, the Vice Squad and the Strategic Response Group. Well, how about the Strategic Response Group come up with a strategic PR response to this nightmare? Because this is not going to go away. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get easier. So take some of that 11 billion, put it towards retraining these mafia kids, and maybe some change can be effectuated. But it ain't going to happen. Half that 11 billion is probably going to their friends and cousins and shit. Yeah. Okay. So $2.3 million is 0.02%. 0.02%. 0.02% of the annual budget. You think $2.3 million is a deterrent? No. You know what is a deterrent? You know what actually would deter this type of activity? People being known publicly as the tyrants, the bullies, the insane lunatic freaks that they are. That would actually change something. And that's why I make these videos.
For the very first time, we analyzed 20 years worth of those records. Here's what we found. The top complaints against the NYPD: abuse of authority, use of force, and discourtesy.
Well, that's what they did to Sean.
More than 100,000
I can't wait to see this footage.
complaints filed over the past 2 decades. The board found only a small percentage substantiated, 7.5%. Reverend Fred Davey is the chair of the board.
I think there are always things that slip through the cracks.
Why is it always some evangelical reverend, pastor, CEO of a church board that's in charge of the police? Why is this always how we end up?
And we want to try to minimize those.
The board forwards those substantiated cases to the police to follow through, where our data shows 3.5% of the officers were actually disciplined. When officers do get punished, they're most likely to get instruction or formalized training. That, and they lose vacation days. More than 70.
Of the more than 100,000 civilian complaints, which, listen, some of them might be bullshit. I'm even willing to say some percentage of that is, I don't think that it's also fair to say 100% of those complaints are necessarily supposed to result in somebody getting fired. I mean, taking someone's job away is a huge deal in this open air prison. I mean, it's a huge deal. People have to pay their bills or else they're going to be homeless. And if you're homeless, you get put in a conservatorship in the United States of America. So I understand it's a big deal. It's a big consequence. But of that tiny percentage of the cops who actually do get disciplined, most of them get instruction or retraining or lose vacation days. Girl,
3,300 days lost.
What do you have to say to people who believe that is basically a slap on the wrist?
it is.
No, it's not.
Chief Matthew Pontillo is the head of risk management for the NYPD.
It has a significant impact on you, your home life, and it's a net reduction in your salary.
These people will say anything to our face. They will say anything. They will say anything to our face and expect us to believe it. It has a significant impact on your home life if you lose a vacation day. F off.
For that year.
This year, both sides agreed on new penalty guidelines meant to streamline and standardize discipline. But at the end of the day, it's the police commissioner who has the final say-so.
It is a game changer.
What has also been a game changer: video. The CCRB chair says a majority of cases involving video have a clear outcome. And that's why when Williams was pulled over a decade
And that's why they took Sean Reyes' camera and his GoPro. That's why.
ago, he didn't just pull over anywhere. He pulled into a well-lit parking lot with a surveillance camera.
I knew
Smart. Very smart. Very smart. He pulled into a parking lot that was well lit and had cameras. Didn't end up mattering. Did not end up mattering. No one faced a consequence. That $2.3 million that came from the taxpayers.
to where there was a camera and it was lit. I figured that'd be the best spot to get pulled over. For the entire
They broke this man's back.
time it was happening, I did not think I was going to survive.
The NYPD says close to 90% of its officers have no substantiated complaints against them. To search an individual officer
Another way of saying that is up to 10%. Up to 10%, up to 1 out of every 10 have a substantiated claim. And we know they don't be substantiating a lot of them. A lot of people are complaining about things, stuff never even gets investigated. How bad does it have to be to get substantiated? And up to 10% of them have that. That's crazy.
yourself, look for this story on the main page of our website.
Okay, so we're done with that video. I want to show y'all one more thing. As usual, this video ended up being a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but I want to show y'all one other thing. So what happened to Sean happened at the 61st precinct. Look at this. This happened 3 years ago. Officers broke a woman's elbow in an arrest at a Brooklyn precinct. You might be wondering, why did they break this woman's elbow? Well, she was 61 years old. She was going to the police precinct to get the necessary paperwork to file a complaint that someone had stolen her glucometer, her diabetes meter. She left with a broken arm. She got arrested. Why? Why? What was she doing in there that made her get arrested? Take one guess. Let me give y'all a couple seconds to think. If your guess was filming the police, you're correct. Broke the woman's arm, 61-year-old grandma. A group of New York police officers violently arrested a woman after she came to their Brooklyn precinct to pick up a police report. Footage provided by her attorney shows the incident unfold. Patricia Rodney went to the 62nd precinct in Bath Beach on November 30th. 2020, after her insurance company told her she needed to file a police report before it could replace her glucometer she had lost. The lawsuit she filed against the city and several New York Police Department officers in Manhattan Federal District Court says an officer told Rodney that she could pick up a copy of the report on December 2nd, according to the lawsuit. When she returned to the precinct that day, officers there refused her request. One officer told her that she had to request a copy at the Manhattan headquarters, according to Hell Gate, which first reported the lawsuit. Frustrated, she refused to leave without one. The outlet reported, at which point the officers told her their body cameras were recording her. When Rodney held up her phone and said she was recording them too, they became agitated and enraged. "Ma'am, we are asking you to leave and you're not leaving and you're not allowed to record," one of the officers can be heard saying on the body camera footage obtained by Rodney's attorney. Rodney wasn't even actually recording, but she said so because she was afraid that without knowing they were being recorded, that they would abuse her. And abuse her they still did. That's when the officers handcuffed her wrists, shackled her ankles, pushed her to the ground, and began twisting her arms. Well, that sounds exactly like what they did to Sean. Put the handcuffs on so tight it was cutting off his circulation. He couldn't even feel his hands, causing her to cry out in pain. Rodney can be heard screaming in the footage, which of course they're going to interpret as, quote, resisting arrest so that a jury won't convict them. She was left with a fractured elbow, according to the suit. One of the officers punitively adjusted her mask to cover her whole face. That is disgusting. That is absolutely appalling. And look, there is a picture of it. They put the mask over her face. Why would they do this? I feel like I'm living in the Citadel at the Game of Thrones. What is this? Why are they doing this? Why? Why would they do why? Why did they do that? Why would they do this to a 61-year-old grandmother who was just there to try and say that her diabetes meter needed to be looked into? She wasn't even asking them to do anything. She wasn't even asking them to do any investigation. She just needed the damn police report. I guarantee you one damn thing, if they needed to print out a police report for her, oh, it'd be printed out. It's already printed out, hot off the press. Despicable, disgusting, vile, punitively adjusted her mask to cover her entire face before he calmly walked away. Police took Rodney to the hospital for treatment before bringing her back to the precinct where they kept her there for hours, same thing they did to Sean. Instead of getting a simple piece of paper, she was brutalized, repeatedly lied to, and hospitalized. It is not hard to imagine that if she had not been lucky enough to have what happened to her captured by countless body cameras, the NYPD would deny the worst of the abuses she faced, including having an officer callously and casually pull her mask over her eyes for no reason. A spokesman for the city law department on Thursday told NY1 the agency was reviewing the case. An NYPD spokesperson, he's definitely getting some of that $11 billion, said the department would not comment on pending litigation. Rodney's attorney, Remy Green, provided NY1 with a statement about the lawsuit. While the mayor spends his time imagining issues, how citizens film the police, this is what real New Yorkers deal with every day. A private, lawless gang, perpetually high on power, abusing people just because they can. Just because they can. If you're fired up, riled up, looking for how you can help, what you can do, I would suggest starting with peacefully redressing your grievances with the appropriate authorities. Now, just for purposes of the video, here's the overview of the 61st precinct where this happened to Sean. Here are the numbers. I'm going to also link what Sean had in his video in the description box down below. The number to the precinct, the number to community affairs, the number to crime prevention, the detective squad. I don't know. So the video is already way too long right now, but I am going to do a video soon showing y'all what to do for a Freedom of Information Act request. If you want to make a FOIA request, each state has a different name for the FOIA request. In New York, it's called FOIL. In Connecticut, it's called FOI. In Florida, it's the Sunshine Statute, but it's all similar to a FOIA request. I will show y'all how to make a FOIA request in a video coming soon so you can start to make some of these requests on your own. If you do make the request about the stuff that I make videos about, you want to send it over to me, what you get, that'd be great. That's all I really had for today. Actually, I have a lot more to say, but it's already way too long of a video. I'm trying to cut my video times down a little bit. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.